We've got pigs and dragons here to talk about mental health, physical health, and the root of inner peace as inner peace as a root cause of wellness and mental health. And Larry, you were talking about an interesting view you had gained with through the Dalai Lama and through some of your other studies. What would you have to share about that today?
Yeah, well, I saw this great this great documentary. It's available now, called The Great 14th, and it's the Dalai Lama describing his life, and it's very, very powerful, really. But he says he says many times in there that really the most important thing is inner peace, and I just think that's we hear it in from many different angles. And it's always useful to hear it again. And then he told this great parable. He said, if you have a problem, a big problem that you're facing, and you can see a solution, then go do it and be peaceful. But if you have a big problem and you can't imagine any solution, be peaceful. And I just thought that was so beautiful. Like, that's really the source of every answer is to be peaceful.
Yeah.
Right? Sandra, you're laughing. Why are you laughing?
No, because I love it. Because I love the whole idea that being peaceful is a solution to whatever you're doing, right? If you got what you need, right? You got what you need. You need, right? I need $5. I know I have $5. So I'm peaceful, right? I can just be peaceful using my $5. Yeah. I need $5, but I don't have it. But I can be peaceful.
Yeah.
And perhaps in the peace, something will arise and the $5 will show up, right? Or I'll see a way to get there. Or
get somewhere. Yeah. I mean, I think like we see it in our practice and in our lives, right? How many times when we're not peaceful, which for me is really most all the time, right? Because inner peace is a pretty high goal if you're living in a state of inner peace. But, we are constantly adding to the situation by thinking about it or through our emotional reactions or something. So we're augmenting whatever is happening already, and then that creates distortion. Mm-hmm. And then we're dealing with the effects of our distortion. Mm-hmm. So it just goes on and on and on, because maybe I'm upset or I have some opinion, and then you get a reaction because I have a reaction. So we both get dragged away from the potential to essentially just sit there, do nothing, be open. And do it's not really doing nothing. Is you're paying attention and allowing yourself to stay open, even though what's swirling around inside and outside could be very disturbing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it reminded me of a thought I had just the other day about how when we do get caught in those thoughts that they're kind of just going on, and we're wondering, and we're already someplace that there's no evidence for us to be. Yeah. That's the suffering part. That's the part where we're just suffering. We're just, there's something that's scary that's happening. There's something uncomfortable that's happening. It's a big problem, right? We don't know how to solve it, but then we worry. And so it just actually magnifies it. We just think about it and push and worry. And if we just said, okay, this is what is.
Yeah.
And, be at peace. This is what is. And allow that space of being at peace with it to either see it as something we will move through, right? Or we don't know, but just to be curious about what can happen if we just settle, right? We just settle.
Right.
Right. And recognize that there's more options than seeing this as an awful thing that's happening to me.
Right. Yeah, that opinion is already taking you out of the experience itself, whatever that might be. And that's the challenge, right? And then, we do Qigong, and, there's meditation in Qigong. People like meditation. That's good. But we meditate too in our Qigong practice. But the idea is, like, through this practice, we support some kind of internal change in our bodies, so that all the organs, everything that's functioning is able to kind of move with what's happening.
Mhm.
So that's a kind of peacefulness because there's also no interference or less interference internally.
Yeah.
And the internal ground where you can start to have inner peace.
Mhm.
So, we look at it as this kind of preparation. It also happens on the physical level,
Mhm.
so that we can have the opportunity to know that my body isn't also going to, kind of add to the reaction by its own out of balance, reaction. So
Right.
there's maybe a chance that we can settle internally and discover this place of inner peace that we have inside of us.
Yeah. Master Lu often says we need inner peace in order to heal. Like inner peace is necessary for us to heal. So if there
Right.
is a big challenge, we probably won't really get through it unless we find some peacefulness, right?
Yeah.
That's the one thing that I take away from sometimes from listening to him when he's talking about inner peace. As you were talking, the other thing that came to my mind was this whole sort of idea about harmony,
Mm-hmm.
and that when we practice qigong, our goal is for our inner physiological being, our inner being, and our spirit and our everything to be in harmony, to like be working together. And we start that with movement. We start with our bodies, but
Mm-hmm.
we recognize that we're going somewhere deeper. And I think that's actually one of the ways that I'm able in those moments when it feels too challenging to come a little bit closer to peace with a little bit more ease,
Mhm.
because I can work my energy gate too. I can do spirit gate breathing. I can march. There are things that I can actually physically do that my body can actually just lead me into this peace.
Uh-huh. That's great. Wow. Yeah, that's like your habits of practice that you can rely on, that you've developed.
Yeah.
You can go to them and know that they're, you've made that connection inside. So the action is calming.
Mhm. Yeah.
And that's, so a lot of times we ask our clients to do Qigong practices, like you mentioned, the 4 energy gates or spirit gate breathing. We want them to have them as part of their everyday routine.
Mhm.
So if you do it every day and there's no emergency, then that's great, because you just, um, helping your body reset and rebalance and stuff. But when there's a problem, you have already established like this foundation. That's what you're describing.
Exactly.
I just think you're giving a really, really great example of how you use them in your
Yeah.
everyday life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a trusting that happens over time, right? There's a trusting the inside of you to actually be able to do something to shift.
Right.
So, yeah.
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 Hi, Jenny. What's up?
Oh, it's so beautiful. I'm like getting so much calm just and inner peace just listening to the
Good.
frequency of your voices is just
All right,
carrying
let's
me
do
on
it.
this river.
Good.
I just really appreciate the concept of Qigong as a way to move with a faith of knowing that peace is possible, even though my mind is saying it's impossible in this moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right. Right. That's really central.
Yeah.
That's a central idea of our practice and our teaching.
Yeah.
Your mind, you have to train your mind. Otherwise, it's going to take you off on these journeys that are exciting, but also we find them exciting enough, but they also take you far away from, where you could be more peaceful and quiet.
Yeah.
And since my mind still has a mind of its own, and my mind's training I must still be like in puppy dog school 101. So while my mind has to be kept on a leash, I can still move my body and get some great sense of that inner peace. And I have to say that Dr. Sandra, and also at Budding Spring Healing, we have programs coming up. And I'd really like to call everyone's attention to Qigong programs that are starting this week on Monday, the 12th, and Friday, the 16th. Dr. Sandra has a program starting on the 20th.
Mhm.
For 3 nights, three early evenings. So there are lots of ways that anyone watching can get more tips and begin this practice. It's all about energy. So we've got to start with energy building. That's the first muscle we need to really develop.
Sure, that's it. That's it.
And with that, our time is done.
Oh, there we go. Well,
we'll drop links in below, and we'll see you all soon. See you next week.
Yay,
In some form or fashion.
Some form of fashion.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.
bye.